Good afternoon. Welcome to Special Report Afternoon Edition. I'd like to thank KC Securities for being our title sponsor. I'm Chris Olcorn, and we're right now waiting for Doug Ford's press conference. Today it's in Toronto, but not at Queen's Park. And Dr. Marilee Fullerton will be with Doug Ford. She's the Minister of Long-Term Care. Mayor John Tory of Toronto will be there, as well as Barbara Collins, who's the President and CEO of the Humber River Hospital. Also, my show is back on tonight, and I talk about some confusing things from Canadian government with regards to the coronavirus quarantine. But while we're waiting for Doug Ford, we're going to go over to Daniel for the weather. What's going on, buddy?
Thank you very much, Chris. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Sunny Tuesday as well. The sun is out in full force, and it's going to be for a few days. You're going to see a view now, which is sponsored by wirelesscom.ca. You can check them out at their website. They have many services, telecommunications services that you can check out, so make sure you check out their website for more information. As you can see there's not really anything going on other than a nice sunny hot day. A few degrees rather above seasonal, so get out and enjoy that, and maybe get out to the boardwalk there downtown. All right, so your expected highs for our region today: 29 in Thunder Bay, you're the hot spot for the region, and Wawa, what a difference, 21 degrees is the cool spot. 27 in Timmins, Sault Ste. Marie, and Elliott Lake, and 28 degrees in Sudbury. And your expected lows for our overnight: 17 degrees in Thunder Bay, 14 in Wawa, 15 in Timmins and Sault Ste. Marie, and then 18s in Elliott Lake and Sudbury. So pretty comfortable night as well. Now getting into that 3-day, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. As I mentioned, it's sunny, it's warm, it's pretty easy. I don't need to belabor the point other than get out and enjoy the sun while it's still around. We are nearing September already. The time goes by very quick. 27 degrees on Wednesday, Thursday, 28 on Friday, and lows of 17 and 18 on those nights. And then you're going to see Saturday, clouds are moving in, but we're still up there, 27 degrees. Sunday, we have a chance of some rain and some showers. That still could change, but at this point, it's still looking like Sunday. 24 degrees, we cool back down to 23 and 22 on Monday and Tuesday. And then the overnight lows are between 16 and 18, so we're still above seasonal, a couple of degrees overnight as well. So that's your outlook. So there is a lot of sun. Now I just want to take this time to remind everybody that you can check out all our stories and the weather that we present to you at SiouxOnline.com. Everything is there for you. You can also go on the sidebar on the homepage, which has a Stay Connected area. You can follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube. We're also on Instagram, LinkedIn, pretty much everywhere you could ask for. We love the interaction, so make sure that you do that. And as well as sharing the show, we thank everybody for doing that as well. All right, I'm going to send it back over to Chris.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Greatly appreciate you giving us the weather report there. Just some quick, we're going to go to a dual screen in just 1 second as we're waiting for Doug Ford, but while we are waiting, the half-hour bus service, right now the buses are going every hour, and then there's also social distancing on them. That's been going on since April the 1st, and last night at City Council meeting, Brent Lamming, who supervises Soo Transit, hinted that in the near future we'd be going back to a half-hour bus service. They've seen ridership increase. The daily ridership right now is about 2,000 riders a day. Prior to COVID-19, we averaged between 6,000 and 7,000 riders a day, but now they're starting to see a pickup in demand with more people going back and forth to work and being able to go out and do more things than they were able to do before. So they are looking at returning that half-hour service very soon, but they gave no target date for that. Also, last night at council meeting, they were talking about taxes that have been deferred, where people, well, not deferred, but you don't have to pay the interest for taxes that are owed already through the end of the year. And on July the 9th, the city had already lost at that point $555,000 in interest payments on outstanding taxes. They think that by the end of the year, that number will be somewhere approximately $1.2 million that they will have lost in interest on the outstanding accounts. All accounts that are 5 figures and up, so over $10,000, the city staff have been contacting those people and trying to figure out some sort of a payment plan to get those companies to pay their outstanding taxes. Now, we had a very good day today for COVID-19 here in Ontario. They released the numbers, and there's 33 new cases, but it's not actually 33. Toronto had gone through their numbers and they found 21 duplicates in terms of being reported more than once. That actually means we're looking at over 50 cases today because of that minus 21. There was no deaths, and more than 70% of the cases now are in people under the age of 40. This is a trend we've been seeing from the very beginning. Over the last 3 weeks, as stage 3 happened and more people have gone back to work, and younger people who work in retail have gone back to those jobs. So we're seeing a good percentage now of the COVID-19 infections in people under the age of 40, and there was no deaths in the last 24 hours. We only have 60 people in the hospital, 21 in the ICU, and 12 on ventilators. That's the lowest number on ventilators we've had since early March. And we actually have only 952 active cases of COVID-19 across the province. Now, okay, switching gears a little here. Sports has been obviously a little thin up until very recently when we've seen the NHL, the NBA, golf, and some other sports come back. Now we're seeing the announcement that Canada is going to be hosting the President's Cup in 2024 at Royal Montreal Golf Club. Now, Royal Montreal Golf Club is the oldest golf course in North America. It was founded in 1873. Royal Montreal will only become the second international venue in the President's Cup to ever host this event twice. The other one was Royal Melbourne Golf Club, obviously Melbourne, Australia. Now, the President's Cup is an international group of golfers who face off against American golfers, similar to the Ryder Cup, but it's done with international golfers and first American golfers. And some of the Canadians who have participated in the past that you might recognize the name of, Weir was there, Graham Duluth, and also Adam Hodden was also who's from BC, was also in the President's Cup in the past. Now, we're going to go to a commercial break, but we're waiting for Doug Ford, and we will be back in just 2 minutes. Hold tight.
What's life without making a few mistakes down the road? A few sharp turns. And doing things for what we adore, but might regret later. A trip to Chuck's Roadhouse isn't one of them. With melt-in-your-mouth AAA steaks, buttery lobster tail, half-priced apps after 9 p.m., an ice-cold draft with all your Roadhouse favorites. Chuck's Roadhouse. Food the way it ought to be, priced the way it used to.
A message from the Government of Canada.
At Maitland Ford Lincoln, we see our trucks everywhere. We see them on Queen Street, Lake Street, North Street, Bay Street, 2nd line, 3rd line, 4th line, Pine Street, Great Northern Peoples Road, Wellington, Cora Road, Bruce Street, Carmen's Way, Northern Ave, Trunk Road. Folks come from all over Algoma District and beyond to buy their truck at Maitland Ford Lincoln. Amazing prices, outstanding service. King Street, Shannon Road, Goulet Bay, Black Road, Government Road, and even on Pine Shores. Yep, our trucks are everywhere. Get yours at Maitland Ford Lincoln, built for Northern life, on Great Northern Road, just north of the hospital.
And welcome back to Special Report Afternoon Edition for Tuesday, August the 11th. Thank you very much for joining us. I'd like to thank KC Securities for your sponsorship. We are now waiting for Doug Ford's press conference in Toronto. But before we go to that, I'm going to just talk a little bit about the aluminum tariff that Trump put on the other day of 10%. A new poll came out from Leger. Full disclosure, I worked for Leger about a decade ago. But 58% of Americans disagreed with the 10% import tax. And obviously, this is very this is self-explanatory, but 90% of Canadians are against the 10% tariff. This is basically Trump trying to stir up his base to get some support for the election in November, where he is in a very tight race with Joe Biden. Now, we're going to go over to the shot of Doug Ford and wait for Doug Ford. He's going to be with Dr. Mary Lee Fullerton, the Minister of Long-Term Care. Also, Mayor John Tory of Toronto will be there, as well as Barbara Collins from the Humber River Hospital. And here we go.
Read that, guys. Is it on? Okay. Ready to start? Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Barbara Collins and I'm President and CEO of Humber River Hospital. I'd like to welcome to the community of North York West the Premier of Ontario, the Honourable Doug Ford, the Minister of Long-Term Care, the Honourable Mary Lee Fullerton, Roman Baber, an MPP, and of course the Mayor of Toronto, Mr. John Tory. It is a pleasure for me to also introduce our Humber River Hospital Board Chair, Mr. Terry Leon. Welcome, and thank you for coming together to make today's announcement possible. I am honoured and humbled to be here speaking on behalf of the Humber River Hospital team, the Northwest Toronto OHT, and our incredible healthcare professionals and staff who are committed to building a healthier community every day. It is inspiring to see their courage and sacrifice in the fight against this unprecedented global healthcare crisis we call COVID-19. We cannot say enough thank you to our teams for all that you do. In recognizing the issues and the challenges this pandemic has created, Premier Ford and Minister Fullerton, please accept our thanks to you, your cabinet and government colleagues for your strong and progressive leadership throughout this unprecedented crisis. Premier, your passion for the people, your true sense of responsibility and your love for the province of Ontario that many of us at Humber River already knew about allowed you to guide this province through this crisis with compassion, authenticity. You have our respect and our thanks. When healthcare leaders work together to provide appropriate care in the best settings, we deliver a better patient care experience because connected healthcare always puts patients' needs front and center. I want to take a moment and share a story with you. One of the long-term care homes in our community was experiencing difficulty managing COVID-19. Minister Fullerton and Minister Elliott asked us to help provide care for the patients. A group of 10 Humber River Hospital staff in the long-term care home did so for 6 weeks. And at the end of that time, when one of our nurses, very experienced nurse, who had always worked in the most acute settings in critical care, was ready to leave, she wrote me a note to say, "I am so proud and thankful to have worked well under such exceptional circumstances. My personal takeaway from this experience is even though taking care of this demographic is not outside my own wheelhouse and my scope of practice, it was an opportunity to return back to grassroots nursing and to provide the most basic care needs to the most vulnerable individuals of society. And if need be, I would happily do it again." And Tracy did for a second time. Simply put, Ontario is stronger when we work together, but along the way, through adversity, we often make new friends. As the fastest growing age group in Ontario, the population of seniors will more than double over the next 15 years. Seniors currently make up 73% of Humber's patient population. Responding to the complex healthcare needs of our aging population requires tireless collaboration between leaders in the community and in government. I have had the opportunity to speak with Premier Ford and Minister Fullerton during this health crisis about how we can continue to support each other in delivering the best health outcomes for the people of Ontario. Today, Premier Ford is here, as promised, delivering results for our aging loved ones in North York and across Ontario with an important announcement. Thank you, Premier Ford and Minister Fullerton, for putting your trust and the trust of Ontarians in Humber River Hospital as we work together to respond to the community's healthcare needs today and tomorrow. We are committed to working together with our colleagues at the Ministry of Long-Term Care, Infrastructure Ontario, and the City of Toronto to show that we can come together and deliver results for our community. It is now my great pleasure to introduce our friend, Premier of Ontario, the Honourable Doug Ford. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much, Barb, and thank you for those kind words. It's great to be back at Humber River Hospital. This is an amazing facility, one of the best in Canada, with amazing dedicated staff. And Humber River Hospital will always have a special place in my heart and my family's heart. I was born at the old Humber Hospital along with all my siblings. The staff always go above and beyond every single day. And of course, the late Dr. Devlin was a great friend. Dr. Devlin was deeply committed to this hospital. He was a driving force behind North America's first fully digital hospital. And Dr. Devlin will always be remembered for his incredible work. So Barb, it's really good to see you continuing the great work happening here at Humber River. I'm so excited to be here with Minister Fullerton, local MPPs Roman Baber, Robin Martin, Stan Cho, and our great PA for long-term care, Effie Trianopoulos, and Minister Lecce Ntabolo. This is an incredible team, and they're delivering the results. It's great to see Mayor Tory here as well. Mayor Tory has been a true ally, and during our historic negotiations with the federal government, when we needed to stay united, the Mayor stood behind Ontario, and thank you so much for that, Mayor. I also want to thank the team at Humber River Hospital, all heroic nurses, doctors, paramedics, personal support workers, and hospital staff who've gone above and beyond the last few months. Thank you for being there when we needed you most at Downsview Long-Term Care Home, Villa Colomba, and so many other long-term care homes in the area. And we're all here today because we care about our seniors. We believe every senior in long-term care homes deserve a safe, comfortable place to call home. As you know, we inherited a broken system. It was a crisis, decades in the making. And it didn't start with us, but I can assure you, my friends, all of us were going to fix it. As Premier, I made a commitment. We're building 30,000 long-term care beds over the next decade. Our government will be investing $1.75 billion in long-term care homes over the next 5 years. We're going to build new beds, new facilities. We're going to redevelop older beds and older homes with modern design standards, air conditioning, private and semi-private rooms, the latest medical technology, because that's what our seniors deserve. I want to quickly recognize Marcoto Mechanical, Paul over there. They're just absolutely incredible. They donated a cooling rooftop unit to a long-term care home in Vaughan. Paul, I want to thank you. I want to thank your company. What an incredible donation that was. We all have a role to play in making long-term care better. My friends, we're putting forward bold new solutions. We're working with our hospital partners and Infrastructure Ontario to deliver new beds in months, not years, because there's no time to waste. We're starting projects in Mississauga and Ajax, and today I'm proud to announce the third historic new long-term care project we have delivered in the last few weeks. Together, we will deliver 320 new long-term care beds for Toronto by the end of 2021. My friends, this is the power of partnership. We're getting our seniors off wait lists, we're building more homes, and that feels like home and giving our loved ones the dignity and care they deserve. We're building a better long-term care system for Ontario, and it starts right here, right now. Thank you, and God bless the people of Ontario. Now I'll turn it over to Dr. Fullerton.
Thank you, Premier. It really is a pleasure to be here today. And a big thank you goes out to Barb Collins, President and CEO of Humber River Hospital, for your partnership in this project. And for all of you and your colleagues who have done so much for long-term care residents throughout COVID-19 pandemic, you truly have been healthcare champions. I also want to thank Mayor John Tory and Michael Lindsay, President of Project Delivery at Infrastructure Ontario, for joining us today. Both Premier Ford and MPP Baber have been tireless advocates on behalf of constituents who need long-term care across this city. And we know that the shortage of long-term care beds in Ontario puts strain on our broader healthcare system and on the thousands of seniors waiting currently in hospital for admission to long-term care. The reality is that Toronto has one of the highest wait times for a long-term care space in Ontario. The provincial median wait time for a long-term care space is 139 days. Across the 5 local health integration networks represented in the City of Toronto, the median wait time is 194 days. Our government is committed to improving this number, and we are taking action to rebuild and advance long-term care. We remain steadfast in our promise to provide our most vulnerable people with the care they need in a safe and comfortable living space. We will do this by modernizing the long-term care sector and creating capacity throughout the province. What we are announcing today is another example of finding modern solutions and innovative ways to provide the care that our vulnerable seniors need. And currently, it takes approximately 36 months to build a long-term care home once a site and financing has been secured. But through a range of enabling measures, such as modular design and construction, rapid procurement, improved construction times, and the use of hospital lands, we are targeting occupancy of this new long-term care home in 2021. It is important to note that these beds, 320 of them for our vulnerable people, will call home and will be new capacity in our long-term care system. Through innovation, partnership, and modern solutions, our government will continue to improve our long-term care system and create new and modern spaces for our aging loved ones to call home and get the care they need and deserve. Thank you. Mayor Tory will now say a few words.
Well, Premier and Minister and MPP Roman Baber and President Barb, first of all, it's always great for me to have an opportunity to get a 2-for-1 deal on buttering people up. And I'll start with the Premier, of course, because he is a person, I know he thinks that every time I see him, I ask him for support for Toronto in one way or another, and I do, because it's my job. But I just remind him that Toronto is like a high-performance engine, which requires a bit of oil from time to time. It requires for the tank to be filled up and the battery to be charged so that we can continue to perform on a high-performance basis to help drive the economy of this province. And so I'll do a little buttering up on him in a moment. But the second buttering up for today is Barb Collins. My daughter's a medical doctor here, and so I guess Barb is theoretically her boss, and so therefore she told me to tell you you're doing a fine job. You're one of the best, as the Premier would say, you're a champion among hospital CEOs. I am seriously very pleased to be here today with the Premier and the Minister and the MPPs that are here. And I will say to you, because it's the first chance that I've had to appear at a public occasion like this with the Premier, he has been a great partner for our city during the COVID-19 pandemic and has worked collaboratively throughout. We have found ways together to solve problems consistent with the health and medical advice that we've received, the excellent health and medical advice that we've received. I'm also delighted, as I said, to be here with Barb Collins and with Minister Marilee Fulton and MPP Roman Baber. You know, COVID-19 has taught us many lessons. A major takeaway for our city, and I'm sure for our province and for other communities, is the need for more long-term care beds. Some of our city's most vulnerable, frail seniors were heavily impacted upon at the start of the pandemic. We tragically lost far too many seniors, and many others continue to deal with the lasting effects of COVID-19. We need to take care of our vulnerable seniors in our long-term care homes. And this will involve careful attention, yes, to current conditions and compliance, which we're working hard to address at the city level, and we look forward to continuing to work with the province on that as well. And today's announcement, which is nothing but very, very good news for Toronto and for the province and for seniors, is another significant step forward when it comes to more and better long-term care being made available to the people of Toronto and the people of Ontario. By expediting the creation of literally hundreds of new long-term care residences at Humber River Hospital, the province is demonstrating a commitment to the seniors, but also to our city and to its people. Through this new long-term care development, we can address the ongoing need for long-term care in Toronto faster and ensure that our most vulnerable have access to proper supports and services. Being here today with the Premier is a great example of what we can accomplish and what we can accomplish at wartime speed. When you hear of something we're talking about in 2020 that will be ready for occupancy in 2021, serving people and protecting them to help our residents, and done in a way that is sensible and yet innovative, using public land and using modular construction as we're doing in the city to provide more supportive housing for people. This is something that should bring smiles to the faces of the people that we serve. It is this kind of cooperation that led to the Safe Restart Agreement that the Premier made reference to, which will help Toronto and cities and towns right across Ontario to deal with the financial impacts of responding to COVID-19. And it will ensure that we can continue as cities and as towns to provide the services to people alongside the province that they come to rely upon as we restart the economy. And so I want to say thank you, because it is the first public occasion I've had a chance to be with the Premier in attendance at, and say thank you to the federal and provincial governments for the financial assistance to be provided under the Safe Restart Agreement, with special recognition of Premier Ford's role standing in for the cities and towns of Ontario throughout what were very complex and challenging negotiations. Never did I once have to worry about him wavering on the need to find a support package the two levels of government could agree on to help cities and towns. I know that that is good for Canada and it's good for Ontario, and the Premier shares that determination with me. May I just say in conclusion that today's announcement is part of making sure that we're on the right track for a good restart. This is part of it too, how we care for some of our most vulnerable citizens. I want to thank the province of Ontario for investing in our city, for investing in long-term care, and for recognizing the need to invest in this type of support for all of our residents, but most especially for our seniors who have worked so hard over the decades to make this what it is, this province and this city, the best place in the world in which to live. And we want to make sure we keep it that way. And that is a significant step, this announcement, in that direction. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Roman Baber, and I'm the local member of Provincial Parliament here in York Centre. We're a diverse community in North Toronto, and I'm proud to represent our growing constituency. I'd like to thank Premier Ford, Minister Fullerton, and all the folks here at Humber River for this great announcement. I also want to thank all of the wonderful staff at Humber River Hospital who have been working day and night to keep COVID-19 at bay while delivering remarkable quality of care for local patients and families. I'm blessed to represent one of the largest seniors populations in Ontario. Today's announcement delivers on our government's commitment to ensure that seniors get the care and dignity they deserve. The project announced today will benefit our community for years to come and ensure that our most vulnerable seniors live in a modern, clean, and comfortable setting. I look forward to continuing to work with Premier Ford and our entire team to fix the broken long-term care system we inherited and deliver 30,000 long-term care beds over the next 10 years. Thank you all for coming. It gives me great pleasure to welcome Premier Ford to York Centre. Thank you very much, Premier.
We'll go to the phone line for questions. Just a reminder that it's one question and one follow-up, please.